Welcome, friends. So this is the July 2026 energy reading, and it's been a wild ride doing this reading. You know, in the past, sometimes I would just come on camera after feeling into it and pull some symbols. This one has been days, and I feel like I've been taken through experiences that speak to the energies, which I'll talk about. So again, this may or may not resonate. Take what does, leave the rest. Also knowing this is a collective reading. It's coming also through my lenses as well, right? So I pulled the symbols on Saturday, and I pulled space yet again, and stone, and fire. So I've had 4 messages that came through in automatic writing around this, and I've recorded them, so I'll play them for you and break them down as well. But in essence, the way this came through and the way I've experienced it now is that it's all about creating and honoring the space to alchemize wounds, to begin to embody who we truly are. So I'm going to play the first message for you, and with the second message, because they work together, and it's really all about this idea of alchemizing wounding and doing so also in a way that is protective of your own energy, not in like a fearful way, but truly just as a protective mechanism to maintain alignment. And a big part of that is grounding. So I'm going to play the message now, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about what it means and some other information that's come through. As we enter into this new space, from the socio-political to the energetic, ground yourself. Allow the bedrock of the earth to anchor in your roots, to be grounded, so that you can dance the sacred dance of transformation and alchemy, burning through the illusions and allowing the light within to shine in its unique authenticity. Create the space to release any foundational beliefs that no longer serve you, to understand which ones felt like they offered a sense of protection. Offer your thanks and transmute that energy of protection rooted in fear and wounding, to embody a protective energy that is not from fear, but from alignment. Because through releasing these old energies, you are truly protecting your unique frequency, to allow it to align and amplify and illuminate all that it comes into coherence with. As you create this space within and all around, honoring the sacredness of your own being and the interconnectedness of it with the all, you can begin to remember and alchemize ancient wisdom into your daily life, thus creating from a space not of fear and limitation, but of remembrance and sacred reverence. Grounding is to me very important, and that is nothing new, right? A lot of this is not anything new. What it feels like is almost like we've been in this preparation stage, and the fire horse is going to start firing. Like, it's been firing, but like, it's going to fire now. So ground yourself. What does that mean for you? And in those moments when you kind of get swept up in it, those are beautiful moments to alchemize whatever it is coming up. What does that mean? So oftentimes we talk about seeing and healing and releasing wounding. And by wounding, that can mean many different things. That can mean experiences that kind of impacted us in a way in which we're holding on to aspects of it that we then react to others, or it informs our life through a particular lens that limits us. So it doesn't have to be some big trauma. It can simply be something that limits the way you see yourself, others, what's possible, the world, beyond, which we'll get to. So limiting beliefs, false narratives, anything that's keeping you from being in the true alignment and embodiment of who you truly are. And that might mean authenticity from the egoic space, right? You feel like you've been wearing masks and not being truly who you are in this world. And for many, that might be the energy where it's being focused. For some, it might be in terms of energetic, soul level, eternal truth of who you are, right? Everyone's going to be working with what is purposeful for them. Neither is better, neither is worse. It's what's purposeful for you at this time. So also knowing too, this is like a big energy. It's not just in July. It just feels like it's going to be more potent. And that also aligns with this unprecedented astrological transit in July that involves outer planets, which speaks to collective consciousness. So it does feel like this is a moment, a time to really ground, alchemize the wounds, which I know I didn't fully explain, and I will, to begin to step into who you truly are. And the alchemization of wounds, the way it was coming through was, and I was given an opportunity to move through it, so I'll talk about that. It's seeing it, feeling it, especially if you didn't feel it in the moment, if you kind of avoided it or numbed it out, distracted yourself, dissociated from it, feeling it to your best of your abilities. Again, anyone that needs support, please get support around this. And creating the space, right? Space. Creating the space, honoring the space. And by honoring it, I also mean if something happens, if all of a sudden you feel like, why do I feel so off? That is honoring because you are in that space to see it, to alchemize it. And the honoring also involves seeing it with understanding and compassion and, dare I say, gratitude. Because it's about releasing what doesn't serve you, releasing the attachments, the resentments, the anger, the identifications, the limitations from that, and integrating the wisdom from it. So that's the alchemization part. Releasing what doesn't serve you and integrating and embodying all of the wisdom and the lessons that that opportunity provided. So that's the alchemization part. And through that, you can begin to connect. It talked about ancient wisdom. And that message has been coming through a lot. About really stepping back into these ancient knowings. And it doesn't have to necessarily mean that you go outside and you're like, oh, this plant is good for coughs. Like you just know. It could just simply be these inner knowings. This is more connection to that clear cognizance, that inner knowing. It's going to look different for everyone. Okay, so ancient wisdom can just be truths, eternal truths. That ancient wisdom could be like, oh, I'm not this identity that I've been grasping to. I'm beyond this. This identity is a role that I'm playing. It's an experience that I'm having, which came up in the alchemization experience that I had because I've had two experiences with this energy. The second happened yesterday. Well, yesterday was an intense day, and I also have not been sleeping well, and so it felt like I was primed for it, and I went back into like really old energy, and this has happened actually. I'm forgetting this happened twice now, where I've been feeling like I'm on this like energetic roller coaster, but twice now I just felt this shift, and the first one was after I did the weekly energy reading, which was all about bringing awareness to subtle energetic shifts. I recorded like 30 plus minutes for this reading, And then I just felt no. And then all of a sudden, I physically started feeling unwell. I emotionally started feeling unwell. It was a really interesting experience, and I honored what was coming up. I felt it. I also judged it. I also was like, why is this here? Right? I went through all of the human stuff. I went through all of it because I think that's part of it, of seeing all of that. What does it feel like to fight it? What does it feel like to lean into it but not get swept up in it? What does it feel like to honor it? What does it feel like to explore it? What does it feel like to fix it? Being aware of all that through the neutral lens of the observer. Because then you're seeing, what is serving me? Does it serve me to fight it? Does it serve me to fix it? Does it serve me to feel it? Does it serve me to honor it? What is working for me with this particular energy? And so in that first experience, I honored it. Like, all I wanted to do was just watch something dumb on TV and just like disconnect, right? I was like, I just want to be entertained. I don't want to think. I don't have to do anything. I just need to hit pause. And I did. And I moved through it. And then I got back and I started recording, right? Because there was a part of me that was like, just push through, just re-record. And it's like, no, I just need to hit pause and rest. And it was less than an hour. And I got back and I recorded. And the same thing happened yesterday where I was feeling really old energies. And it wasn't like I was back in it. It's hard to explain. It was like there was a whisper of that energy, but it held the same emotional potency, if that makes sense. So it wasn't like I was in it. I was aware of it. I was feeling it, but it still held that charge that it did in a way as when I was really going through it, right? Like decades ago. And it was interesting. And I went through all of the emotions and the experiences, from judgment to honor. And I ended up going outside and being in nature and grounding myself. And that's when I did the work also, once I grounded, to step into it, to see it, to explore, to get curious around it. And I put my hand on my heart after I felt like it had kind of been soothed, right? It was like I would self-soothe in more destructive ways. I didn't really honor what I was feeling for a lot of my life. And so in this way, I honored it. And I put my hand on my heart and I just asked, how do I alchemize this? And I was really surprised by the message that came. Because the message that came, it was just simply, it was an experience. Let it be. It was an experience. And I thought, wow, okay. It's so simple and yet so profound, and yet shows me exactly what I needed to see. Because from a young age, I started with rumination, and I would hold on to something that people wouldn't even remember for decades, ruminating, thinking about it. I would hold on to things, and it was just an experience. And it's just an experience like this life, which I spoke about in this video. And it instantly removed so much of the charge. And that's part of this process, is removing the charge, removing the attachments, the stuff that we're grasping onto that keeps us right in this contracted space. And we can let it go and integrate the wisdom. That is that process of alchemization. And what's blowing my mind right now is that this is flowing. And that was my other experience with this, which felt purposeful to the energy of July, because I could not articulate the energies, right? Sitting there, thinking about it, looking at the automatic writing, translating it into language people can understand. I understood it. I get it. I can say it. But anytime I sat down to prepare, get my thoughts together to come on camera, it was like my mind was blank. And I sat with that yesterday again, like, what is this? This was before I was taken through the alchemization process. And I realized the message in it was that you can prepare. You can prepare, but you cannot be prepared for this. And notice what lens you're seeing that through. Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling excitement? Are you feeling relief? Just notice that, because that's information, right? Just notice it. Try not to judge it, because it's giving you information about a lens that you're seeing through. You can prepare, but you can't be prepared. And the way that I interpreted that is that you can't be prepared is the same energy as you can't ask a question about a topic that you know nothing about. You don't know anything about it. So how can you ask a question? How can you be prepared for something that you've never experienced? How can you be prepared for something completely new, right? Like COVID. How prepared were you for that? And that was part of my alchemization process, because I was okay during COVID, because I had gone through so much inner work around all of the stuff that I've gone through in my life, that I was okay. I was okay with being in the unknown. You know, I wasn't prepared for a lot of aspects of it, and yet I was able to navigate it with relative ease, relatively so. And that is essentially this too. The work that you've been doing, the grounding, the working on all the aspects that are keeping you stuck in false narratives of who you are, however that lands for you, is in preparation for this. Because we're releasing our limitations of what's possible. And that brings me also to the next two messages, because all of these symbols are very much elemental in nature. We have space, stone or earth, and fire. And so this is the message around connecting with these symbols at the elemental level, which I will explain in just a moment after the automatic writing channeling message around it. These three symbols all represent elements of our existence. Space, also known as ether, stone, which is of the earth, and fire. This is a call to return to the elemental nature of who you are and the world around you. Not just the manifest world that you can see and feel with your external senses, but the elemental world within you and all around you that you can see and feel with your extrasensory or internal senses. To connect with the tree, the flowers, the animals, the dragons, fairies, elves. Seeing the elements in manifest form as the physical representation of the elements in their energetic state to help connect with your own energetic imprint that informs your physical experience. To begin to see the physical world in more subtle ways, releasing the density that can weigh you down in more dense vibrations that make life hard and that perpetuate the energies of fear, lack, and separation that keep us stuck in outdated paradigms and systems of oppression, both at the individual and collective levels. Explore the space within you and all around you to unearth the bedrock of these denser energies and burn through the illusions that are keeping you stuck in the dense field of forgetting. As they burn away and are transmuted, the divine spark within will have the space to grow bigger and brighter. Through this light within, the clearing away of outdated patterns becomes like second nature as you step more and more into alignment of who you truly are. Again, the elemental aspect of this, you can see it as elves and fairies and dragons, or just simply energetic shifts that you're experiencing. And for some that might be, oh, I just got really tired, right? That might be very new, of just noticing, oh wow, my energy shifted. Interesting. And do you honor it? Right? If you've been pushing through fatigue for so long that you don't even know what it means to take a rest, or that you're tired, if you haven't been honoring your body and its needs, that might be this journey for you. And as we explore more subtle energies, right, we can also begin to see when those false narratives arise, when those wounds arise, and how they are impacting our experience in life. So really exploring this more elemental nature. And if we look at it through the elements and the chakras, again, the throat space, all that expression, expressing who you are, expressing your thoughts, expressing your beliefs, expressing your truth. Fire is that power center, but also our identity. And so is the fire burning the illusions of who you are to allow you to begin to illuminate in the truth of who you are. And then stone, earth, root chakra, embodiment, grounding, embodying, and expressing who you truly are. So that is more that elemental nature. And this idea of connecting with the trees and the elves and the fairies is connected to the next message, which is all about our galactic families. So the connecting with elementals and connecting with galactic beings, they're energy. They're just energy. So for me, I have pareidolia, which is where you see faces in inanimate objects. And so sometimes I will feel an energy I see a face and feel an energy, and I'll just feel that energy from that tree. And it can be as simple as that. You're just feeling energy. And so whether it's feeling an energetic shift or feeling what it feels like to honor a feeling versus to avoid it, you're just sensing energy. It's all just energy. And so I'm going to bring in the last message now. This one has been coming up a lot, but I haven't actually spoken words to it. And so I was surprised and not surprised when it came out in the automatic writing, because it also brought a message that came through last year around seeing the solar system and the planets and the galaxy each as family members, like relatives, and it brought me into the macro and the micro. But for our purposes for here today, just seeing like Earth as a family member, Mars as a family member, Venus as a family member. And so here's the message about our galactic interconnectedness. Space can represent the cosmos. Is this month bringing more illumination to the bedrock of humanity as a galactic species and allowing for more interconnectedness with our galactic families? Can you create any amount of space to understand how your relationship and experience with the idea of family is informing your hopes, dreams, fears, and expectations of contact? Okay, so this is all about your idea and experience of family, whatever that means to you. It does not have to be blood family. Your experience is your experience, and allow that to be what you sit with. And it may be in various different realms of understanding, from childhood to adulthood. And is that informing your relationship with the idea of contact? Is it informing your dreams, your fears, your expectations? And just noticing, because when we can notice that, we can also notice how our experiences and maybe things we're holding on to is like wounding, right? Which could be just a little scratch. It could be like a gash, right? Is it informing and limiting what's possible with contact? Because in that same way of, sorry, it was my dishwasher. In that same way of connecting, say, with like a tree, I have these photos that I'll post up here of eggs that I felt in the moment of seeing it. I was like, oh, like it just felt like ET energy, but like a Pixar type ET energy. And that just kept happening. And then I would I would see a face in like a house or light brackets, but I would feel an ET-like energy, a galactic energy. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. That's how I also know, like, I'm not like making it up. Like it feels galactic. Also knowing there's no separation between it. Like we separate like angelic from galactic, and it's all just energy, just uniquely expressing. Just like you are and I are the same energy, just expressing uniquely. So I would feel this galactic energy, and then I had a dream with galactic beings that was also unlike anything I've seen portrayed in the media. And so that, I haven't labeled it as contact, but I've been connecting with galactic energy, what I perceive to be galactic energy. And like that could be it. It could be so much more, right? But if you're expecting a UFO to land in your backyard and that is what contact is, you might actually be missing those moments when you're actually in connection with galactic energy and not realizing it because you're looking for something specific. And that is so much the point of all of this, is expand what's possible. Releasing all of the wounding, the limitations, so that you can be open. Because it might really surprise you and it's not something that we can prepare for. And so also this idea of preparing, but knowing you can't be prepared, I think is really freeing in a sense. So doing what you can to ground, protect your energy, not out of fear, but out of alignment, maintaining your alignment, maintaining your sense of groundedness, so that when things arise, we can honor it, alchemize it. As we release it, as we integrate it, we then step into more of the truth of who we are. Whether that's the truth of who you are in your identity in this life, or the truth of who you are across all eternity and beyond. It's going to be different, right? Everything in between. So that is the energy for July. It's been really interesting experience. I also will say that I have felt this like weight with this video. And I don't know necessarily what that's about. So that's my next step, is to sit with that. Usually I'm like excited to come, and it's not this whole big thing, but this has been like, it's felt like weighty to do this one. And I'm not sure if it's, again, a reference to how I kind of give weight to things that don't need it or don't require it. And it just inevitably impacts me negatively often. So that is what I got for you. July 2026 energy reading, knowing it is not limited to July. And I will report back if anything arises. Feel free to comment and share anything that is coming up for you, anything that comes up. Say if you're seeing this in August and you're like, oh, yep, this actually happened, like feel free to share. And until next time, friends, enjoy that sacred dance within. And can you see it as a sacred dance within? And can you see that sacred dance within and all around? Because I think when we can see it as a dance, again, depends on your relationship with the idea of dancing, but it brings a sense of joy and fun to it all. And I think that's really important, to also have that element in this process. Take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously. Okay? It's all an experience. And with that, my friends, until next time, stay curious.